at the moment it seems that Ukraine is winning the Battle of the Black Sea. That is, the attacks it's done over August and September, again, have pushed those S-300, S-400s back and mean that the grain corridor seems to be working for Ukraine. That doesn't mean there are not still the drone strikes happening, but they've got more freedom of action than they had previously.
The war itself, it is at a very, very critical stage. What's your thoughts at this moment, Chip, on the state of the Ukraine war?
Well, it's day 604 rather than day 13 on the other one. And as General Mattis, who I used to work for, used to say, you can have too much war. So what are the big muscle movements we're really looking for, I think? The first one is that the progress in Zaporizhia towards cutting the land bridge is pretty glacial, I'd say. So the Russian defense has prevented penetration at the moment. So they're trading space for time a bit. They want to stop a tactical breach becoming an operational breakthrough. And to do that, positional defense only works if you've got reserves to move. They've had that so far. That's why the move of some forces, although they're quite small, across the Dnipro into Kherson today could be significant, right, putting the Russians on the horn of our dilemma again. But I think the two other things which have really struck me since we last spoke is, firstly, we seem to have seen ATACMS introduced into the battlefield, the Army Tactical Missile System from the Americans, and that has most significantly hit both an airfield in Luhansk at 100-kilometer range and the one in Berdyansk at 85 kilometers away on the coast. Now, the significance of that is I've talked frequently about the thing called the A2AD bubble, the anti-access area denial bubble, which is capabilities designed to prevent an enemy from entering an area. So the destruction of at least 9 enemy helicopters, either Hind, Havoc, Alligator, they're attack helicopters, and those were the helicopters and base that they were attacking towards Zaporizhia, means that they're probably going to have to move those back to Rostov, an oblast, of course, in Russia. And therefore, that means that unless they have a forward arming refueling point forward, given the distance, their ability to get to the battlefield and loiter over the battlefield is very circumscribed. The second thing, I think, which is really interesting, is that at the moment it seems that Ukraine is winning the Battle of the Black Sea. That is, the attacks it's done over August and September, again, have pushed those S-300, S-400s back and mean that the grain corridor seems to be working for Ukraine. That doesn't mean there are not still the drone strikes happening, but they've got more freedom of action than they had previously.
A militarily significant moment, this. It didn't get a huge amount of coverage for reasons, as we say, that we understand. But the use of those longer-range missiles supplied by America to strike at an important Russian airbase in the occupied south, that is a significant blow to Russia's capacity for aerial control.
It is, and I think the other thing is, it's interesting that Putin actually said that the use of ATACMS did not cross a Russian red line. There was a big fear before that would be a red line. Now, the real significance of that is Germany and Scholz has been very, very reluctant to give the Taurus missile system, which is probably more capable than the ATACMS, and that might also unlock Taurus in the way, for example, giving Abraham tanks was the original thing which unlocked the giving of Leopard tanks from Germany and then cascaded across, because you need the authority of the manufacturing country.
Yes, yes. In this attritional warfare, the supplies of ammunitions are just so important, aren't they? So were you worried to see Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, in North Korea, shaking hands with the leadership in North Korea? They're looking to North Korea for ammunition supplies, aren't they?
Yeah, and it looks certainly from satellite imagery that 1,000 containers of something is being brought forward, whether it's artillery ammunition or what's in those containers, we don't know. I think that is important because even prior to the attack in Israel, there was this, I've talked often about the politics of fear, food and energy. The fourth politics is the politics of fatigue. Now, I don't think at the moment there is weariness, that's true, but I don't think there's indifference or abandonment.
Yes.
People in the West are still hard over on the sovereign independence and territorial integrity of Ukraine. But I think also Putin was quite right when he said if the West defense supplies had terminated tomorrow, Ukraine will have a week to left to live as it runs out of ammunition.
Yes.
I'm not worried about that at the moment because, of course, we've also just had the 16th Ramstein meeting, and there were significant, particularly air defence and artillery ammunition pledges at the 16th Ramstein meeting about a week ago today.
I mean, look, there are concerns about Americans growing, or some Americans becoming rather war weary with Ukraine. In that context, the president is making a speech on primetime TV this evening. That could be important, couldn't it?
Yeah, and of course, the other aspect we were worried about is not only the election result in Slovakia, but the status, as it were, in American politics with the end of year budget. So what I expect to have either tonight or in the near future is they'll probably try and tie in a Ukraine package into a support package for Israel to give an enduring funding at least until the 2024 election.
Yeah, well, that Ukraine will be hoping for that, that's for sure. Major General Chip Chapman in our briefing room today. Thank you, Chip.